Now that the FBI is involved in the investigation into the death of one Border Patrol agent and serious injuries to another, there are growing questions about exactly what happened. The Border Patrol has said that Agent Rogelio Martinez was attacked by migrants and possibly stoned to death. He was found at the bottom of a ditch. The FBI says that is one possible scenario. Another is that he might have fallen into the ditch. A border agent says there is no way two agents fell into the same ditch and got those injuries. Well, jurors in the case against Garcia Zarate, a homeless illegal immigrant deported multiple times and now accused of murdering Kate Steinle, headed home for the Thanksgiving holiday without reaching a verdict. It appears the jury's also still out for the Senate, trying to pass a measure, which has not even voted on the measure named after Kate Steinle, Kate's Law, that would stiffen penalties against previously deported illegal immigrants who commit crimes. The measure passed the House in June, but it's not even gone to a vote yet or been considered in the Senate. Joining us now, one of the backers of Kate's Law, New York Congressman Lee Zeldin. Great to have you with us tonight, sir.
Great to see you.
Okay, so by my accounting, this passed in the House June 29th. There were some GOP defectors, but you got at least 12 Democrat votes by my count. It was received in the Senate, which is controlled by the Republicans, on July 1st. What since then?
Well, it's really all about finding 8 Democrats who would be willing to vote for it. With the Senate rules requiring 60 votes, if you have all 52 Republicans in the Senate, you still need 8 Democratic senators. So I think that's that's been the main holdup over there, and really it's the right thing to do for more than 8 of these Democratic senators to come on board, because as we see in the case of Kate Steinle, but this happens all across the entire country, where people are removed from the country and then they come back sometimes multiple times, maybe multiple misdemeanors, felonies. They might do 30 months or 60 months or more in prison, and they should be held accountable. But actually what you have is a lot of Democrats who are going out of their way to protect these individuals. And that was the case that we have here in San Francisco, where instead of turning over an individual to the federal government for deportation proceedings, instead they had a sanctuary city, and that led to a loss of one beautiful, young, talented life.
Well, I understand that you've experienced this with a constituent in your own congressional district. I mean, this is something we've heard these stories again and again about people who were here, many of them kicked out of the country multiple times. They come back. There's really, it appears, no disincentive for them to do that. But as you know, and as you said, you got to get at least 8 Democrats over in the Senate. Here's something that Senator Bob Menendez had to say earlier about Kate's Law. He says, "I will do whatever I can in order to stop them. These are only punitive in nature. They don't deal with the totality of the reality of our immigration challenge, and as a continuing part of the Republican saga that only looks at one element and looks at it in a way that is totally disproportionate." All right, so we're not going to count him as a possibility among the 8, but how do you respond?
Well, I mean, you have families that are getting torn apart. Every nation's backbone is its rule of law. Every nation's borders, it's really, if you don't have one, you don't really have a nation. And it's important for these Democratic senators who, and as Democratic mayors and other local town supervisors who, they look at these people coming as constituencies and they want to protect these families. And they're turning a blind eye to what we face on Long Island with the rise of MS-13. Fortunately, President Trump, the AG, they've been coming to Suffolk County, my home county, and I have loss of lives happening all of the time all across our island. And if you don't have the right policies in place, if you're not enforcing your nation's backbone and your rule of law, if you are turning a blind eye because you want more votes in your next election, lives are getting lost as a result of it. So it's a responsibility when you put your hand on the Bible and you take an oath to be a United States Senator, to be a member of the House of Representatives, that when these votes are coming up, you should be going out of your way to be able to vote for, on behalf of Kate Steinle's family, for the family in my district, where not too long ago someone who was deported, returned, and then is allegedly murdered one of my own constituents. This is the right thing to do for that family, and it's like they're blinded because they want to get, a gavel in their hand. They want to become a chairman. They want to get reelected. And they're ignoring all of the realities on the ground, and it's tearing apart families and communities. And the sanctuary cities, we provide federal tax dollars to all of these different local municipalities, and in some cases states, all across the country, and they're ignoring federal law, and we're still paying them. So we also need to better leverage the money that we're providing, the federal money, to help get the results that we need for those families, for those communities, for our law.
Yeah, and just yesterday, a federal judge out in California actually blocked the efforts by this administration to take sanctuary city funding away. That, no doubt, will wind its way through the courts as well. We'll keep an eye on this in the Senate, and possible they put it to a vote, to put everybody on the record about how they're voting on this, Republican and Democrat alike. Congressman Zeldin, thanks for making time for us just before your Thanksgiving break, and have a great one.
You got it. Thank you. You too.